opioids, a highly addictive drug derived from a poppy flower that produces a variation of different sensations, the most sought after being the feeling of masking pain. According to the Centers for Disease and Prevention, or the CDC website in 2020, 143 million prescriptions for opioids, a Class II scheduled drug, were prescribed to people in the United States. That means in the United States, in the year 2020, 43% of the population was exposed to this highly addictive drug. In order to combat this, some doctors are prescribing alternatives like injectable steroids, over-the-counter medicines, or even marijuana. Today we're going to talk about the benefits of reclassifying marijuana from a Class 1 scheduled drug to a Class 3. First, we'll talk about the current classifications of marijuana and the problems that are faced because of that. Then we'll talk about the benefits of marijuana if it were classified as a drug with less restrictions. As said earlier, the problem is that marijuana is federally classified as a Class 1 drug. The DEA, or the Drug Enforcement Agency website, describes this as drugs with no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse. Because there are restrictions on obtaining marijuana, it is illegal to use it and use for medical studies in order to gain more knowledge about the potential medical benefits. Although some states like Colorado or California have legalized marijuana for recreational and medical purposes, the state law still sets out specifications on how you can obtain it and the use thereafter. For example, certain people suffering from certain diseases and the signs and symptoms because of that, like multiple sclerosis, terminal cancer, or Parkinson's disease, use marijuana to help. Marijuana also helps people who are suffering from chronic pain, nausea, or insomnia. Only 2% of the population in 2020 had the ability to legally be allowed to obtain marijuana. But because marijuana has those restrictions, doctors have prescribed patients a form of opiates. The British Medical Journal in 2018 saw a steep rise in number of opiates dispensed for pain treatment has been accompanied by a dramatic rise in overdose deaths in the United States. When doctors prescribe these medications, they do so by giving them a certain dosage, but it is up to the patients to follow that. But due to the pleasurable effects that opioids have on the brain and the body, this facilitates an abuse of that drug. Instead of prescribing opioids, a safer drug can be utilized in order to treat these patients. Let's take a look at how to improve the available medical knowledge of using marijuana to treat various symptoms. The solution to this is to change the scheduling of marijuana to a Class 3 drug. In 2014, Hawaii Medical Journal of Medicine and Public Health says that this would help reduce barriers to needed research and to humanely increase availability to patients who may benefit. But again, due to the restrictions placed on this Class 1 scheduled drug, it's hard to gain approval from the Food and Drug Administration, or the FDA, in order to proceed with studies to learn more about the medical benefits. But as a Class 3 scheduled drug, marijuana will still be recognized as being addictive, but has less restraints on it. The Vox website describes the process of reclassification. First, it starts by a review of the FDA, and then by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. These agencies will separately assess and then critique the information presented to them, but the DEA has the final say. After conducting a research survey on patients who use marijuana to treat their various symptoms, Hawaii Medical Journal describes marijuana as having medical benefits like alleviating pain, insomnia, and may even help in relieving anxiety. If more extensive studies were conducted, marijuana might have the opportunity to be prescribed more than opiates, thus reducing the chance to develop a debilitating relationship with it. Although reclassification doesn't occur very often, it does happen. The box also explains the change of opioid-based prescription painkillers from a Class Schedule 3 to a Class Schedule 2. This was pushed by Michelle Lionheart, a former DEA employee, And she did this because she wanted to help millions suffering from prescribed opioid substance abuse. If for opioids, reclassification can concur to reduce the amount of deaths, then the idea of marijuana being classified lower to help save lives should not be so far-fetched. Just as with opioids, data regarding potential medical benefits of using marijuana can be used to make its case. Now that I've gone over why marijuana should be scheduled as a Class 3 scheduled drug, it's because it has the ability to complete medical studies, and we need to be able to learn the benefits of marijuana. It's time to take a look at how you can make this happen. I've made a petition that outlines the benefits of marijuana and explains the process of reclassification. If you feel that marijuana can be a safer alternative to help treat symptoms, then take a look at that petition. Once enough signatures are achieved, it can be brought to the attention of the DEA for further review. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes.
Yes, what is your question?
So you made this petition?
I did, yes. And if you go to that website there, it outlines, I guess, everything that I've talked about and talks about how and why marijuana should be reclassified.
Wow. How hard was it to make a petition?
It wasn't that hard, actually. I just did some research and applied my previous knowledge. Do you have any other questions?
Did you notice any other drugs that could be moved around other than marijuana and opiates that you think could happen? Not that's happened in the past.
Yes, well, I believe that cocaine is scheduled as a Class 2 scheduled drug, but I feel that marijuana should not be classified as a higher drug than cocaine, which more people are addicted to, and it causes more of a debilitating life for you based on that addiction. Anything else?
No.
Oh, cool. Well, marijuana, despite its prejudices, can be a safer alternative for more addicted drugs. To know more about the benefits of marijuana, it needs to be reclassified to help save the lives of friends and family. Thank you.